Hello. Should have cleared my throat. Hi. So today I'm bringing you guys another game from the Albany July 1st, July 4th tournament um, from this year, from just this past month. Um, and yeah, today's the game against Lou Cornelis. I brought you guys round one. Um, there was some rounds in between. This is round six. So I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna take a look at all those in between as well. There are some games that I already looked at. Um, but yeah, so this is round six. This is a game against Lou Cornelis, a longtime player from Ontario. A very strong player, has been in the 1900s, 1800s for most of the time that I've played. Um, and yeah, I think he has a good record against me. I think it's a pretty good record against me. And so yeah, I was hoping to improve on that record this game. I had this opening rack and I was really like kind of confused about what to do. I thought that there were a lot of good options, or not good, like nothing was great, but I ended up playing add for 10, which on the surface is a 7.5 uh, equity sacrifice. So the difference between the valuation here and the valuation here is 7.5 points. I don't think I ever considered playing the word hands. I did consider playing hand, and I did consider playing dad and add. So I'm curious to see what Quackle thinks of my move. As you see, it jumps to the top there. But the reason you'd maybe want to play something shorter in this spot is because it doesn't give anything back, and it also keeps your S for future turns. So that's why I considered add. I think it's better than dad. Dad gives a bit more away in terms of like overlapping potential. See if you put the two D's over here, you'd have to have multiple vowels in a row to overlap, and you're only hitting one double letter score, opening a triple letter score. Whereas here, it's very easy to put a consonant under the triple letter square over it, and make vowel, consonant, vowel sort of plays. So we can see in the opponent next turn category, there's a slight improvement in average score after dad versus after add. But the reason that dad might be okay is because for us next turn, we're also scoring more. The reason for that is the plays will tend to maybe open more space and allow more bingos to play. But I don't really necessarily agree with the assessment of dad being better for bingos next turn, because more likely than not, Lou's decision will revolve around not giving back too many spots to me. So yeah, I also considered hand. I think that my other candidate play was hand. Never considered hands. It's actually worth considering taking 10 extra points. The S does improve the leave by around that much, if not potentially more or less. It seems very, very close. But I wanted to unduplicate and play a bit defensive here. So yeah, lots of options. I played vertically, of course. Lou plays food for 6. And I drew one consonant, or one vowel, which was, I guess, good to see. I might have just missed this word. I didn't see Joseph. I ended up playing John. I think John's the right play still, but I don't think I saw Hodge at all, which is a problem. Um, Definitely should have seen that. Problem with Hodge is that very likely Haji, the I hook is going to come down. And score just way too many points, even though that will give me back a spot to play bingo. It's just a lot of points you're giving back for that. So John, more conservative play, sets up a somewhat of an S hook with the D and the E and the P. The S hook is actually pretty good. A lot of words that 7-letter words that I draw will start with S or have S in the middle of the word. But like SP words will play, And I still have the sevens lane created by add on the I column to end in S. So I thought that I was bingoing a decent amount after this. I don't know if I ever considered Pez. I probably did. I just didn't want to leave myself vulnerable for bad draws and board opening plays that Lou might make since he would be down 35 points. So yeah, John is my play. Again, seems pretty interesting. Lou plays LEI. Yeah, I also gathered from Oud that he might have an L that he's trying to set up. So playing John limits his options there. He plays LEI. This is a weird spot. I looked for like 9-letter words, but yeah, it just seems like Fa is the play. Far and away by 8 points valuation. There's no real difference between that and any of the other plays, other than those other plays giving back triple opportunities for Lou, which I don't need to do in this position. So yeah, Fa comes down. Lou plays PIRN here, making Fawn. Very board opening, scoring spot opening play. There's now an O hook here, a Y hook here, an E hook, an S hook. We got plays through this P that are possible. Let's see what I drew. I drew this rack. Didn't see a bingo. And I played solved. Finally getting rid of my S after I could have done so on the first turn. Didn't serve me very well. But at least in this spot, it's allowing me to score 44 points. I don't think there's anything better than this. Odes does keep things closed. I guess I'll put that in. I'm pretty sure solved is better than solve, even though solve keeps the better leave of DR. But Odes is interesting because it's very defensive. You'll see opponent next turn is scoring 14 fewer points on average because I'm blocking this P, not giving anything back. So it's a very interesting idea actually that I didn't consider. Keeping the V is kind of bad, but yeah, making a play like this, I think I would have done something like that at some point in my Scrabble upbringing. I used to like to make plays like this, but now I put a lot more value into what I'm leaving behind than I used to when it comes to defensive plays. So yeah, Odes might be better. Might be a slight improvement just because it just totally shuts everything down. But it would not have worked out. So I play solved, and cringes comes down for Lou. So imagine a position where I played Odes and cringes comes down. I've scored 2 more points, but I have a V, an R, and an L. Probably not going to work out for me. Luckily, I drew into a bingo here of Assurate. I don't know, maybe after Odes, cringes isn't that bad. I could make a play like viral and keep the game close. Maybe I'm overvaluing the results here. But yeah, luckily I get Assurate. I'm like, okay, well, look at this now. Board was somewhat calm on the play of Fa, but this Pern play followed by this Assurate play, and now we have 3 triples open. They're wide open. Obviously, the more dangerous one is this one, because triples exist and overlapping plays exist. Next is this one, because you get the triple both ways. If you hit it, like any play with the Z is going to score 70, 80, even 90 points. And then you have this one that is also potentially a big spot with the J gone. Lots of the plays that go here are bad plays, like bad case scenarios like Jupe or Jape are no longer possible, so it's not that big of a concern. Of course, once this spot goes away, if the Z is still out, then the spot will also be a source of variance. Zips or Zaps or Zeps will be able to play potentially in the spot. Anyways, I had to play the bingo, but I was very worried with both blanks out that I was giving Lou a triple. He's just drawn 7 fresh tiles, and he plays Detainee without a blank. And normally I would be extremely worried now after this play, but my draw was AGILMNT, and I was like, oh my god, is he really not blocking this triple triple? How lucky am I? I never triple triple. And so I laid down my letters, meddling, and started counting. And I was like, then I hesitated a second. I'm like, ligament, meddling. I think there's another anagram, but whatever. I would see it. I would see it if it tripled. Ligament doesn't fit. This has to be the only triple. So yeah, play meddling, 158 points. However, it's anagram that I did not see quickly enough. Tegmenal scores 18 more points just because it doubles the M rather than the A, because that's how multiplication works. And what a horrible, horrible unforced error I made here. I was just super excited to have my one triple that I saw immediately. Did not remember my high probability anagram triplet properly and made a huge sacrifice of 18 points. But not only that, I'll show you why meddling is worse than an 18-point mistake. But I was feeling really good, going ahead by 130 points. What else? What else could go wrong here? So meddling comes down, and if you notice Tegmenal, one of the benefits is that it does not put an I next to a triple letter score. And very quickly, Lou plays QI, 64 points. He would have had 42 here, and kept an I. Much better scenario. So this play cost me 18 points immediately in every scenario, and then in terms of results, it's cost me around 20 more just on the play of QI. So yeah, that is not good. And I draw this rack, which normally on most boards would be a very bad rack, but because this board is so wide open, I get the play of Yipe for 39. I can also play AY here if I want to block this spot. Actually, I'll give it a little simulation. I'll put these three plays in to see what the difference is in what I'm giving back. So if I play AY, this spot, like I said earlier, is a lot more dangerous than this spot. Of course, the Z being out can hit either spot for a huge amount of points. There's not much I can gather from the play of QI. You can make that play with basically any rack. But yeah, it's very possible that just preventing opponent from scoring those 10 extra points and giving myself potentially worse leave. Although I bingo twice as much after AY because of the two consonant draws. And I score 8 more points. Okay, well, I definitely misevaluated this position then, if I'm playing Yipe here. This seems like a big mistake. Should go with 1 GAY. Bingos more, protects, score a ton more. ... Of course, I was averse to four vowels versus one consonant, but this AAOS leave is going pretty much nowhere, so definitely should have played AY here. Strategy, medium. So Yipe comes down, and I get punished once again with overrun. 83. Could have played for a couple more here, but I think for the same concept, same reason as myself wanting to play in this one row, overrun here is probably a better play because it prevents me from scoring so much. So if we actually put these two options in a sim against each other, opponent next turn scores 13 14, more than 10 more points on average if we choose the higher scoring placement. So definitely not worth it. For Lou, he makes the right decision to play it here instead of there. And suddenly I'm only up 28 points, and I've kept AAOS on my leave, on my rack. So what do I draw here? I draw this rack, and I play Nawab for 37, my best score. All these top plays use these 5 letters. Next best play is Bras. I think Nawab is the right play here. 37. Now I get hit with Zax for 38, which could have been a lot worse. If he had an A, Zax would score 59 in this spot. So it's great that these letters are now gone and I still have the lead. But there's still a blank lurking. I don't have it. So what do I do other than play FOU? Didn't see any good options. This balances, this gets rid of the primary threat. Bingo on M7 would not only score really well, because it has 2 double letter scores, one of them could be gotten both ways, but it's also one of the lanes on the board that is most free to play in. So the concept of the interaction between scoring spots, there are scoring spots that are worse on face value for you, which triple words are the highest value scoring spots. However, another issue with triple word scores is that they're at the edge of the board, and often when they're used, they do not give back another scoring spot. And if they do, it's a very small one in comparison. So the relationship between the scoring spots is very important in the game of Scrabble. And oftentimes when you use a scoring spot like this spot, triple letter score, double word score, it'll give back triple word scores in response. If you use this double word score, it'll give this double word score as a possibility, and then this one. So not only are triple word scores dangerous because they are the highest scoring spots, double letter to triple word is usually just the best spot on the board, but it's also because they are usually played at the end of a staircase or at the end of a trade of scoring spots. They don't give another one back. So this spot here, the M column, is similar in that the spots that it gives back are not as good compared to the spot itself. So bingo here, even if solved weren't on the board, would give back some scoring options, but they're very hard to hit and not as dangerous potentially. So yeah, definitely worried about this spot as a result of that. So I play FOU. The response is MY for Lou, who's now opened another bingo lane here. So although Foo is blocking a bingo lane, you can see it's bingo lane here, I guess kind of here, definitely here, definitely here, here even, here, and now from this M and as well the B column. So this board is not going away anytime soon. The threats that exist are not going away anytime soon, and it's getting closer and closer to the end game. And still, I do not have that blank, and there are some very scary tiles as well that are unseen. So in this position, I gave a ton of thought to what I might do, and I ended up playing Stoke for 30. The reason being, I want to score points, increase my lead. I want to turn over tiles and maybe draw the blank, and I want to create some scoring options. Since Lou has played MY, maybe he has bingo letters, and the play of Stoke opens a big scoring spot on the 14 row. Hopefully, if he does have those bingo tiles and he maybe bingos from the M or somewhere else, I can use this scoring spot to my advantage on the next turn and maintain my advantage in the game, or at least make it close. Whereas if I make a smaller play that scores less, like Goo, and keeps scoring tiles, there's nowhere immediate for those scoring tiles to go. So I'm somewhat more relying on drawing into a bingo after my opponent bingos. I'll be ahead maybe 42 points after a play like Goo. If a bingo from the M happens, I'm down 30, 40 points, and it's going to be difficult to come back from that. However, the concept of playing 3 letters in this particular situation is a good one, because if Lou does immediately bingo, which is one of the scenarios I want to look at in this sort of position, he will be stuck with 7 fresh tiles that might not be amazing, and I will be able to have a strong advantage in the endgame going first with my own 7 letters, which is a pretty big advantage. It can maybe be a 30-point advantage, 20-point advantage, 40, depending on the situation. So even being down after a bingo, I could still come back in the end game. But maybe playing something like Ego for a few more points is good here. What's the highest scoring 3-tile play? I think it's just Ego for 23. But yeah, leaving Lou with 5 letters, 6 letters, 7 letters. There's not a huge difference. It's always best to leave your opponent with most letters in an endgame to have the biggest advantage. But 5 letters will often not go out. 6 letters will almost never go out. And 7 letters, you have to have a bingo to use all of them. So in the situation that Lou immediately bingos, playing 3 tiles, 4 tiles, or 5 tiles in this position, they're all pretty good ideas. So I played Stoke. I didn't have any illusions of really stopping the best racks from ever bingoing. I wanted to create some counter threats. Of course, that does mean that Lou himself could utilize the scoring spots and threaten a bingo again, but in that particular instance, I might be able to make a play that blocks enough to prevent him from bingo, because his racks aren't going to be the best things that I see necessarily. So I need to face the racks that have maybe 1 or 2 bingos that play that I can block. So that's why I played Stoke. It would take forever to run a simulation there, but I simulated in my head, so you can trust me. However, now Lou plays Fob, so he has this rack. He told me, spoilers. He plays Fob because he realizes that this is a big scoring spot that he needs to deal with, and he's going to try to bingo next turn with his extremely strong leave of EST blank. And now here I realize that I am in humongous trouble with this rack. And actually the top play is what I actually played here. I'm up 25 points, 463, 438. We've already scored 900 points in this game thanks to my triple and lose multiple bingos. And I'm looking at this pool and I don't know what I'm supposed to do other than try and trade bingos, even though I'm at a severe disadvantage in drawing one myself compared to Lou. So the reasoning behind playing MU is that I want to block this M because some of the bingos that I'm drawing, Coinage, Cotinga, with the unseen letters, will fit on the B column, and any bingo on the A column will block those options. So although if I'm trying to bingo, it might seem counterintuitive to block a bingo lane, there's a very good reason for this. I'm looking at the specific draws I can get, and realizing that if I block this and Lou maybe bingos through the E, or bingos on the N column because it scores more than the B column, I will have some options to counter bingo and win the game. So yeah, Coinage, Cotinga, Co-align or Coling, those will not fit. But we can check if I missed any Any other options? Let me see. Anagram. Is this thing running? Yeah. But Cotinga and coinage, that's 4 out of the 8 letters that are unseen. So yeah, coding, coaxing, Cotinga, yeah. And I also noted that if I drew an R, I forgot about that. If I drew an R, I get actually organic in this spot, which is really interesting. Because again, then if Lou goes elsewhere, like on the B column, because he's seeing that Cotinga is available for me, he might miss that organic will play. But yeah, this is basically a play that I made for maximum complications. And it actually does work sometimes, I think. Because if there's something to be said about Lou calculating precisely and blocking the B column after my play of MU, there's still scenarios where I can draw into organic and play on the 12 row. So that was my thinking here. I was hoping that that Quackle would finish thinking while I was talking, but it has not. So I'm going to end the simulation because it's too complicated for our poor computer over here. So MU is played, and Lou bingos with oops. I messed up. That's what I was thinking on my turn about organic. Yeah, he actually played fob in this spot instead. He switched it, I remember now. Playing it for 26 instead. I think his reasoning was it's just maximizing his chances of bingoing next turn. And that he would probably outrun big plays with the W. Yeah, my bad about that. But yeah, everything I said still counts. I can still draw into all of those bingos. Organic still fits. Cotinga, coinage. So yeah, played MU here. Then yeah, Iratist was Lou's play for 72. He switched it from this one for some reason. I think he was maybe worried about possible bingos through the E. Yeah, so let's put it back. And I drew the W. So yeah, I had no chance of drawing the R, E, T, or T, or blank. Lou had all of those. I ended up playing now. And he plays BAL and out and wins the game 526 to 493. An insanely high scoring game. This was really frustrating because I thought I was just like guaranteed to win with meddling, and then I realized right after that I'd missed Tegminal, maybe made a bad mistake the next turn on tilt. Although it was a weird and tricky situation, I hope that I would have been able to recognize that playing in this spot was far more important on the Yipe turn, that is. And yeah, I ended up he ended up mounting an incredible comeback to win with 526 after a triple. And yeah, I knew that I'd blown this game and was quite upset. I knew that even though I blew it, I was very likely to win anyway. And that made me even more upset. So yeah, that's round 6 for you. Incredible banger of a game. Didn't go my way, but very well could have. And yeah, we'll find the next fun game for you guys to look at. That was a long one. I hope you enjoyed my analysis as always, and I'll see you soon.